Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Wonders of His Word. I hope you're all doing good. Today I want to share with those of you who are under a lot of pressure. Have you ever felt like you just wanted to run away, that you wanted to give up, you wanted to quit and go away from all the problems that are surrounding you now? And especially in this season when everybody is going through such a difficult time with the pandemic and with their finances or their health or even their mental health. At a time like this, when we have sorrows that are coming from every direction, when we have so many difficulties that we become so exhausted by dealing with them, we're so tired and we just want to give up. Now, there were many characters in the Bible who could relate to this feeling too. In Exodus chapter 2, we see Moses, this man who grew up, all his life he grew up in the palace with Egyptians, but at the same time he could see his own people were suffering. They were working hard and they were being oppressed. They were in slavery, and he wanted to do something for them. And when he tried to do that, he killed an Egyptian, and when the Pharaoh heard it, Pharaoh wanted to kill Moses. At this time, Moses couldn't take this pressure. He couldn't just live his life in the palace with the Egyptians. Neither could he go out there and save his own people. And he couldn't handle that pressure, so he ran away. He fled to the wilderness. He went to Midian, and he spent so many years of his life there, away from his true calling. We also see in 1 Kings chapter 19 how Elijah, this great prophet who saw so many wondrous miracles from the hand of God, by his prayer he could bring down rain, he could bring down fire, he saw the dead being raised to life. After all of that, even this great prophet had a time in his life where he was under so much of pressure that he just wanted to quit. We see that when Jezebel is trying to kill Elijah, he runs away to the wilderness and he says, God, I just want to quit. I want to die. Take my life. I'm the only prophet left. This is so much of pressure, too much for me. I can't handle it. And he says, please God, let me die. And even David, such a great king, all his life he had enemies who were chasing after him. But at one point in his life, his closest friends and even his family turned against him and tried to steal his kingdom. And when they did that, David felt so much of pressure, he just wanted to give up. We read in Psalm chapter 55 verse 6, he said, I wish I had the wings of a dove so I can fly away and be at rest. I want to run away to the desert and the wilderness. I want to go to a shelter to get away from the storm in my own life. And even in that season of his life, David says that if it was my enemies who were against me or who tried to kill me, I would be okay with it. But because it was my closest friends and even my family who turned against me, I'm so hurt. I can't take it anymore. I'm so exhausted. I'm done. When all of these characters in the Bible faced so much of pressure that they just wanted to give up, God didn't let go of them. God still made sure that they lived out their calling. God appears to Moses in a burning bush and says, what are you doing here in the wilderness? When your calling is back there, you need to lead the Israelites out of Egypt. And the same with Elijah. God sends his angel with food and water. God appears to Elijah. He comes in the form of the earthquake, there's fire, and then God speaks to him in a still small voice and says, Elijah, what are you doing here in the wilderness when your calling is back there? And God strengthens these characters and he picks them back up and he says, go back. The wilderness is not for you. You can't give up just yet. You have a journey that is ahead of you. But one interesting thing that I found was that when Moses and Elijah, and they were such great characters, they were such great men of faith who were so close to God, yet at the time of pressure, they just wanted to give up. They internalized their sorrows and they shut God out. But when we look at David, it was so interesting to me that David, he wrote psalms and he sang songs in his times of trouble. When he fled to the wilderness, instead of shutting God out and giving up, he starts speaking to God. That's what we see in Psalm 55. He says, Lord, please hear my plea. And then he says, God, morning, noon, and evening, I cry out to you. But he says with faith, God, I know you will hear me. I know you will save me. You will redeem my soul in peace out of the battle. And I really liked what he said in verse 22. He says, cast your burdens on the Lord, for he will sustain you. He was able to say what Moses and Elijah couldn't say. He didn't need a big burning bush or the voice of God or an angel to come down and intervene when he was exhausted, but he was still able to find the strength to just say, Lord, I know you will save me. He also wanted to run away. He was under so much of pressure. All his life he had enemies. He was only fighting and hiding in caves. But he had the faith to say, God, I know you will hear me, so I choose to cast my burdens on you. Today, can we do the same? Can we say, Lord, I cast my burdens on you because I know that you will sustain me. Even though I have so much of pressure around me, instead of giving up, instead of internalizing my sorrow, instead of going far from you, instead of going away to the wilderness, I will find shelter in you. Under your wings, I will find my strength. I will renew my strength. Jesus sees you today if you are going through so much of pressure, if you are exhausted and just want to give up. He is with you and he will sustain you. You just need to hold on to him even in this season. No matter how many difficulties you have in your life, God will make sure that you go back out there and live out your calling. He will not let you give up. He will not let you die in the wilderness. He will not let you live an ordinary life with your sheep on the mountains where no one can see you. Instead, he will pick you back up and he will use you mightily. He will strengthen you. He will take care of all of the burden and the weight that you are carrying today. So can you cast your burdens on God and with faith say, the Lord will sustain me, just like David said. Can we sing out to God? Can we cry out to him in our times of trouble instead of giving up? Because God definitely sees us. So if you want to run away, God still has a calling for your life. Don't give up just yet, because when you cast your burdens on the Lord, he will sustain you. I hope this message has blessed you. If you liked it, please share it with your friends. Drop a comment below, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend. God bless you.